On this episode of our Axis and Allies Global 1940 Second Edition tutorial series, we're going to talk about national objectives, what they are, how you get them, and we'll go over all of them in relative detail. So, a national objective is just something that gives you extra money. There are tons of them. Every nation has at least one, and generally they give you extra money. Some of them are easier to get than others. Some of them you'll probably never get in most games. Some of them will entirely steer your strategy for a lot of games. So let's start with Germany. They have 5 IPCs for not being at war with the Soviet Union. So every turn that you're not fighting the Soviets, you get 5 IPCs. Now, once you declare war on them, you can never get that money back. You're never going to regain this objective. Once you give up on it, that's it. Next, these only take place if you're at war with the Soviet Union. You get 5 IPCs if you control each of the following. So, Leningrad here, that's 5. Moscow, that's 5. And Stalingrad, that's 5. Each one of those, you get 5 IPCs. So that's up to 15 right there. Another one is for controlling the Caucasus. This is if any Axis power controls it. Yes. So, for the 3 cities I mentioned, Germany has to control them for it to get the objective. For the Caucasus, if any Axis power controls it, Germany gets the 5 extra IPCs. Next, you get 5 IPCs if you control Denmark, Norway, and if Sweden is either strictly neutral or is Axis controlled or pro-Axis. As long as they're not friendly to the Allies or under Allied control, you'll get that money if you control Norway and Denmark. Another one is you get 5 IPCs if you have 1 or more German ground units in Egypt here. And the last one is 2 IPCs if you control the following: Iraq, Persia, and Northwest Persia. So you get 2 for each of those you control. And again, that has to be under German control, not just an Axis power. So overall, Germany's national objectives are really pushing them towards the east, towards the Soviet Union. And I mean, it's a no-brainer, I think, to go into the Soviet Union. You know, there's 20 IPCs and national objectives alone, plus all the money you get from just controlling the territory. So I really think as Germany, the Soviet Union should be your primary target. I know this isn't really a strategy video, but, you know, I'm just going to kind of work it in there. But that's all Germany's national objectives. Next is the Soviet Union. They only get to collect their national objectives if they are at war with Germany and or Italy. So if they're at war with Japan, they don't get to collect anything. Not until they're at war with the European Axis. So their first one is you get 5 IPCs if C-Zone 125 has no Axis warships in it, if you control Archangel, and there are no other Allied units on any Soviet territory you still control. So if you meet all 3 of those requirements, you get 5 IPCs. That's representing like Soviet prestige and convoy routes. That one shouldn't be too difficult to get. I think and most of the time you're going to have that for a while. Eventually you'll probably lose Archangel, but you'll be able to hold it you'll probably be able to hold it for 3 turns maybe after Germany attacks. The next one, it's a one-time objective, so you only get this once, is you get 10 IPCs the first time you take Berlin as the Soviet Union. So if the Soviets walk into Berlin, boom, you get 10 IPCs at the end of your turn. Cool. I don't see a lot of times when you're going to be getting to Berlin, but, you know, anything's possible. And the next one is you get 3 IPCs for each original Axis territory or pro-Axis neutral that you control. So that can mean like Finland, Norway, Iraq, any of these German territories here, any Italian territories, or even some of these Japanese territories. But keep in mind, it said original Axis territories, so Manchuria doesn't count. You'd have to go into like Korea or Japan itself. So that's the Soviet Union. They really don't get too much out of their national objectives. You'll probably get that 5 for a while. You probably get 15 IPCs out of that, maybe 20. Your final one, you might get 3 or 6 IPCs out of it. A lot of people are really in favor of sending some Soviet tanks to Iraq, and I've tried that out a few times. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it. I'm much more of a fan of giving it to the British so they can build factories there and send units up here. But, if they're having a bad game and the Soviets are doing well, sure, go for it. As for Finland and Norway, that's going to be a tough ask. It's not impossible. Like, if Germany was going heavy into, like, the southern part of the Soviet Union, maybe you could sneak some units over there. But that's just, I don't know. I think that's going to be really tough. But it's possible. Next, we're going to talk about Japan. Japan probably has some of the hardest national objectives to get. And some of the worst ones, I think. So, if Japan is not at war with the Western Allies, that being the United States, Australia, and the UK and France, you get 10 IPCs. So as long as you're not fighting them, you get 10 IPCs every turn. Once you are at war with the Western Allies, you get 5 IPCs if you control the following. The first one, it says Group of Islands. So you have to control Guam, Wake Island, the Gilbert Islands, the Solomon Islands, and Midway, way over here. So you have to control all these tiny little islands out in the middle of the Pacific to get 5 IPCs. I think that's the hardest one to actually get and hold. It's not impossible, but I wouldn't go out of my way for it. If you can get it, cool, awesome, but I wouldn't really expect to have it for very long, and I would not center my strategy around that objective. The next one is for controlling the money islands. So you get 5 IPCs if you control the following: Sumatra, Java, Celebes, and Borneo. You get 5 IPCs for those. That's great, because odds are you're going to be going down there anyways. And that's something a lot easier to obtain and a lot easier to hold than the previous objective. And next, we have 5 IPCs per territory, per one of the following territories. And these are pretty much the capitals for the Pacific board. So that being, if you control India here with its little capital of Calcutta, New South Wales with Sydney down there, San Francisco in the western United States, and Honolulu, Hawaii. Yes, I know a lot of those aren't technically the capitals, but you get what I'm saying. As Japan, your objectives are really tough to come by, I think. The money islands, I think, is really the way to go. And then maybe going towards taking those important victory cities. That and like the 10 IPCs you get for not attacking the Western Allies is awesome. But Japan just doesn't get a lot out of their national objectives compared to like Germany. So I don't know. I just wouldn't center my strategy around many national objectives as Japan. I would just see them as cool little bonuses, but I wouldn't go too far out of my way to obtain them. Next, we have the king of national objectives, the United States. Most of these you're going to get all the time, and you get a ton of money from them. And pretty much all of these are for just holding your original territories. So, here we go. 10 IPCs if the United States controls the following: the eastern United States, the central United States, and the western United States, way over there. You get another 5 IPCs if you control Alaska, the Aleutian Islands, the Hawaiian Islands, the Johnston Islands and the Line Islands. Collect another 5 IPCs if the United States controls the following: Mexico, southeastern Mexico, way over there, Central America, and the West Indies. So that's these 3 plus Mexico. So that's 20 IPCs right there, and you're pretty much going to get that every single turn once you're in the war. You only get these once you've entered the war. All right. Collect 5 IPCs if the United States controls the Philippines. This one, you're probably not going to get as much, but if you do, awesome. And the last one is collect 5 IPCs if at least one American land unit is in the territory of France. So the United States, you really like your national objectives. You get a ton out of them. I mean, you already start the game making more money than anyone else, but once you actually go to war, it's even more. It's insane. You don't even really have to go out of your way for them either. You typically just get them. Like, Japan is really the only Axis power that can stop you from getting most of them. And they really are going to struggle to push out that far. Because, the easiest thing for them to take is going to be Hawaii, the Johnston Islands, or Alaska and the Aleutian Islands. And all of those are very close to the United States. So they're going to be able to be liberated pretty quickly. So, yeah, you're going to get at least 20 IPCs pretty much every turn for the entire game as the United States. It's crazy. Next, we're going to talk about the UK. Now, the UK has their split economy, so they have one national objective for Europe and one national objective for the Pacific. So for their European economy, they collect 5 IPCs if the UK has control of every single one of its original territories on the board. So as long as you don't lose any territories, you get 5 IPCs for the Europe side. That's actually pretty doable. You're going to get it on turn 1. You're probably going to be able to get it on turn 3. You might lose at turn 2, but odds are you're going to be able to get that objective for most of the game. And for the Pacific economy, when you're at war with Japan, you get 5 IPCs if you maintain control of Hong Kong here and Malaya, way down there. So if you hold both of those, your Pacific economy gets 5 IPCs. That one's a lot harder to do. Usually when Japan attacks, they take Hong Kong immediately. So there's an argument to be made for the UK declaring war on Japan just to get this extra money. And depending on what turn it is, yeah, I could see that being worthwhile. I wouldn't do it on turn 1, but if it's like turn 3 or 4, and the Americans are about to come in anyway, sure, go for it. But generally, Pacific, you're probably not going to get it. Europe, it's a toss-up. Next, we have Italy. Now, Italy is a nation that lives and dies by its national objectives, because Italy is absolutely broke. So, you collect 5 IPCs if there are no Allied surface warships in the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean are sea zones 92 through 99. So here, this one, and this one. So that handful of territories there, as long as there are no Allied surface warships, you get 5 IPCs. You get another 5 IPCs if the Axis controls 3 of the following. That being Gibraltar, southern France, Greece, or Egypt. So if you or Germany or even Japan, as long as you control at least 3 of those, Italy gets an extra 5 IPCs. You get another 5 IPCs if the Axis control all of North Africa. Well, most of North Africa. So from Morocco to Alexandria and everything in between, if the Axis control that, Italy gets an extra 5 IPCs. And just like Germany, if Italy controls Iraq, northwestern Persia, or Persia, they get 2 IPCs for each. Now, that one is nation-specific. That one specifically says if Italy controls them. But still. And any bit helps for Italy because they're so poor. Is Italy, your national objectives are cool, but you struggle to go after them simply because of how rough turn one typically goes for you. It really just depends on what your enemies are doing, if they're going to let you play the game or not. I'd say keeping the Mediterranean free of Allied warships, that one's doable. With the German air power, that's pretty doable. You can make it happen. The rest of them you can typically get close to, but you're usually like 1 or 2 territories away from it. Like Greece and southern France, you're going to get both of those reasonably easily, but Egypt and Gibraltar are a bit more of a tall order. Same thing with all of North Africa. Even if you do get all of it, the Americans can come in and just take Morocco from you and take that 5 IPCs away. Is Italy? I think it's somewhat similar to Japan. Just kind of take what you can get, but I wouldn't go crazy out of your way for it. Next, we have France. And France has a unique one. They don't get any bonus money. They get bonus units. So the first time Paris is liberated, they get 12 IPCs worth of units to put in a territory immediately. So Germany goes in there turn 1, takes France. 5 turns later, the British come in and take it back. France gets to put down some units. Whether it be 4 infantry, 2 tanks, 2 infantry and 1 tank, a fighter, a strategic bomber, whatever. As long as it's 12 IPCs, you can put it there. Now we're going to talk about the other 2 that I skipped in the turn order. We're going to talk about Anzac. Anzac is even better with their national objectives than I've thought for years because I didn't read very closely. You have 2, and you only get these when you're at war with Japan. You get 5 IPCs if you have all your original territories and the British control Malaya. And you get another 5 IPCs if the Allies, not including the Dutch are represented by this roundel. So if the Allies, not including the Dutch, control New Guinea, Dutch New Guinea, New Britain, the Solomon Islands, if you control just those 4, you get an extra 5 IPCs. So Anzac is going to be getting 10 IPCs for the majority of the game. Unless Japan goes out of its way to stop you, which I definitely think they should. That's 10 IPCs really makes a difference for Anzac. And lastly, we have China. China has 1.5. So they get 6 IPCs if they control the Burma Road, if the Burma Road remains open. And the Burma Road is this little squiggly red line. And how it stays open is the Allies control every territory that it goes through. As long as Japan doesn't have one of those territories, China gets 6 IPCs. And as long as that road remains open, China can build artillery if they want to. But the minute that gets closed off, no more artillery for China. Or at least they can't build any more. They can keep what they have, but they can't buy new ones. That is a quick overview of all of our national objectives in Axis and Allies Global 1940 2nd edition. If I missed anything, please put it in the comments below and put your strategies below, your favorite strategies. Let me know if you think I'm way off with some of these national objectives, if you think Japan should go out of its way to get all those far-flung islands. Let me know if you think Anzac's national objectives are just garbage, or really anything in the comments below.